Hello, welcome back to the channel. I am Cheryl.
And I'm Jesse, and we are expats living in the Netherlands. And today, we're creating a video to talk about our experience with the Dutch postpartum nurse, aka the Kraamzorg.
So just to give you a bit of context, we just gave birth like 2 months ago.
Yes.
We have a little baby boy here who's taking a little cat nap at 2 months. And yeah, we just thought it would be really interesting to sit down and talk about this really cool service and perk that you get living in the Netherlands, which is the Kraamzorg, the postpartum nurse, which is all part of the health system here. And we've never heard of it in anywhere else in the world. I'm not sure if this is available anywhere else, but it's very, very special to the Netherlands. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of talk about our experience with it and how it works and all of that.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but it was especially helpful for the two of us because we don't have family in this country. So having that extra help, which we'll cover in a bit, was really helpful in that first week of coming home with our new bundle of joy.
Yeah.
So as mentioned, the Kraamzorg is a Dutch postpartum nurse. And basically how it works is you get a nurse for 8 days when you return home from the hospital, or 8 days after you give birth. And the nurse will come between...
For the 8 days. So it starts immediately, technically, right after you come home from birth. And then 8 days after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the hours are minimum 24 hours to a maximum 80 hours spread over the 8 days following the birth of your child.
And the length of time that you get with this postpartum nurse depends on your birth situation. So let's say you had a cesarean C-section, then you probably need more healing, more nurse attendance to check up on your scars, check up on baby to see if baby's okay because, it's a bit more of a bigger procedure. And so you might need more hours with the nurse to kind of help you hold the baby, because you probably can't hold the baby yourself. Or if your husband already went back to work like 3 days afterwards and you need more help than somebody who has their husband at home the whole time or has their mother at home or whatever. So the amount of hours you get is really dependent on your situation.
So what was the service included? What was included with the service? Like basically anything you need to get started with a new baby. So it could be learning how to put on the diaper for the first time, because I didn't know how to put on a diaper until we had our son. It could also be if you're not breastfeeding or exclusively breastfeeding, how to make your formula bottle. That's also something we didn't know how to do.
But also how to breastfeed. Like they also accompany you with tips and tricks on breastfeeding, how to bathe your baby,
or shower your baby,
change their clothes, everything basically that you need to know as a new parent. And any questions that come up during that 8-day period, you can just ask them. And they come every morning. And so it's pretty great. They, in addition to baby care, they also care for the mother and the family in general. So I feel like if you had kids, they would help you with taking care of your toddler or, whatever other kids or pets that you have.
They seem to be very adaptive to the situation of the family that they're working with for that day.
Including cleaning.
Yeah.
One of the most important things that they clean is like anything that's sanitary for the mother and the child. So they always do laundry, not always, but if they do cleaning, they'll most likely help you with your laundry because babies have a lot of laundry. They'll wash your toilet, because mothers postpartum, you are going to the toilet a lot. They will most likely like wash your floors, like vacuum, that kind of like easy kind of chores around the house. And if you're lucky, they might even cook for you.
We didn't get that benefit of the luxury, but that was fine because we didn't need it. But we've heard stories from other people that their Kraamzorg made them lunch, or snacks, etc., or even help them grocery shop as well.
Yeah. So we'll get into our experience in a little bit, but that's kind of like the gist of what a Kraamzorg. Oh, one other thing that they also do, which is really nice, is because they are a nurse, they'll also check on your health and the baby's health. So every day they checked on your temperature and the baby's temperature. Make sure you don't have any fevers. They check on any scars that you have. Like I said, if you have a C-section or a tear, they'll check on the recovery and healing of, all of that. And anything health related, because they are a nurse, they'll make sure that everyone is healthy. And if it needs to be escalated, let's say to a doctor or your midwife, they will also coordinate that for you. All right, so that is a Kraamzorg. Now, how do you actually get a Kraamzorg? What is the, process to sign up for a Kraamzorg?
I think in terms of once you know that this service is available, it just starts with a Google search for some different agencies that are available out there in your area, or maybe you hear from your friends or family that had babies. Maybe they have some recommendations.
Yeah, and while we get into this topic, I also wanted to note that the Kraamzorg is, in fact, part of your health insurance. And so everybody in the Netherlands pays for health insurance. So even at the basic level of health insurance, the Kraamzorg is included. But I believe you have to pay like €5 an hour, just as your deductible or a top up, that kind of thing. But what I did was that a couple months.
Or the year before. The year before
I got pregnant?
Yeah.
Just a couple months before, because we were already like baby planning. So as we were baby planning, the month came up where we can decide whether we want to change our health insurance or not. And I was like, you know what? We are, hopefully in the next year going to get pregnant, have a baby. So I really wanted a better health insurance plan. And so I am with Zilver and Kraus, and they have different like add-ons that you can add on. So I have added like dental, but I've also added like what they call like 2-star, which is just like it includes the full coverage of Kraamzorg, so I don't even have to pay that €5 an hour. It includes hospital births, which are free, like fully included. If you don't have that, you typically do have to pay for the hospital. If it's not a necessary, like if it's your preference to go to the hospital. And it also includes a lot of additional like birth related things. We're not going to get into that in this video, but it includes the full coverage of the Kraamzorg. So whether you have that add-on or not, you're going to get the Kraamzorg. It's kind of mandatory. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I don't think it's fully mandatory, but it's highly, highly recommended. Like once you see your midwife, they're going to be like, you got to pick your Kraamzorg. Like pretty much the second time you meet them, they're like, you got to sign up for your Kraamzorg basically the moment you get pregnant, because they fill up like very, very quickly. There are many, many agencies around the Netherlands, but how we decided to choose ours was we just went on Google, literally on Google Maps, because I don't know, I find it easier to just find things near me on Google Maps. And I looked up Kraamzorg, and then we went with our company, which is called ProCare. It is one of those bigger Kraamzorg agencies. They had a lot of Google reviews, and they were mostly pretty positive. And we just kind of decided like that. We thought like, it's really the luck of a draw. When you sign up for an agency, you have like they have thousands, or if not hundreds, I don't know, of different postpartum nurses. So you really never know who you're gonna get. So I feel like it doesn't really matter which agency you go with, because they're just it's just the luck of a draw of like who you're gonna get.
But it's still important to look at the reviews of the agency, because then you'll see maybe they have on average higher quality postpartum nurses, right? Which
Yeah.
we did do our due diligence in that regard.
Yeah. A few months later, though, I was like in one of those mom groups, and someone did mention that there are actually, in fact, private Kraamzorgs that are not part of an agency. Like
We call them independents.
Independent Kraamzorg. So those tend to be possibly higher quality. Because they may offer additional services like cooking or special needs. I don't know what it is, but
maybe massages.
Maybe perhaps massages. Like I don't know. So I would say it's something to look into. We heard that they do get booked up really, really quickly because obviously they're independent and they're usually higher quality. They're hard to find though. So if you know you're gonna get pregnant and you want that kind of service, I would say start looking into it like right away, just to do your research and sign up for it right when you get pregnant. So yeah, that's how you sign up for your Kraamzorg.
Yeah.
We just filled out a form online. And then they called us back, and it was done.
And I don't think I was there that day because I was at work. But
yeah.
You had a call, and did you meet one of the nurses?
Oh yeah,
beforehand?
yeah. Almost, I think, a month or 2 months before I gave birth, the Kraamzorg agency person, like
the coordinator,
I guess, she came over to my house. And we had tea, and then we just kind of chatted about like what my expectations are of a postpartum nurse, how pregnancy was going. I think they're using that information to gauge approximately how many hours you're going to qualify for.
But also maybe to do a little bit of a culture fit too, because we're expats, right?
Yeah.
We don't really speak Dutch, so but based on that conversation, they probably decide, you know what, we'll give them a more expat-friendly postpartum nurse.
Yeah, and in that meeting, it's really, really important to specify if there are anything that you're really concerned about during birth as well as after birth. For example, if you have any sexual trauma in the past or birth trauma in the past or whatever it is that
or just any mental health challenges that you're going through at the moment.
Depression or anxiety about anything, it's actually really important to open up about it. You don't need to talk about it in detail, but if you let them know about it, they'll match you with someone hopefully that has a little bit more experience dealing with, being more sensitive about that topic, and hopefully maybe even getting more hours out of it. So yeah, do what you may need to do with that information.
All right, let's talk about our experience with the Kraamzorg.
Yeah.
But maybe some context. We had a unique circumstances with coming home from birth, right? So we came home.
It was really late at night.
The night of when he was born.
Yeah, he was born at 7:30 something in the morning.
We didn't get home until 10 p.m. We're not going to go into detail on that.
Yeah.
So then the Kraamzorg did come the next morning at 8 a.m., which is actually a good call out because it was a bit of a stressful night that first evening because we did get help from the nurses at the hospital after we gave birth.
Yeah.
Like we needed help to change the diapers and changing the clothes. But anything else, like how to prepare a formula bottle, we had no clue.
Yeah. So this baby did not eat at all for what felt like 24 hours. After he ate, the 10 minutes after I breastfed him after birth, he didn't eat at all the whole night, all the way into the morning till the next day when the nurse came. And I was kind of freaking out because I didn't know that was normal. Apparently it's normal for babies to not have an appetite the first 24 hours because I guess they're dizzy, their stomachs are this big, maybe even smaller. And so, yeah, we were just we were up all night. He was puking mucus,
Crying.
water, what's that called? The amniotic fluid. He was puking that out every 5 minutes. So the whole bed he was sleeping on was just soaked.
Yeah.
Soaked. And I didn't know that was normal. I didn't even know what he was puking out. I was like, you're not even drinking milk. How can you be puking milk?
So that first night was stressful and a night we'll never forget. So the Kraamzorg arrived on time at 8 a.m. And that's when we really learned on how to start taking care of our new baby. So she, of course, covered some breastfeeding.
Yep.
But we had some latching challenges at first. So then she taught us how to prepare a formula bottle, which we had no idea how to do that.
Yeah, we had it on hand, thankfully. But we had no idea, like, you know, how to use a bottle, how to create the bottle. So the nurse actually taught you most of everything because I was like recovering in the bed. Like I couldn't do anything. I was pretty bedridden for like the first day or two.
Yeah, but the nurse was also there that morning to like, you know, talk to us, answer our questions. So she reassured us that it was perfectly safe and normal that he wasn't eating that first night because newborn babies in their first, I don't know, 24 to 48 hours, they may eat, they may not eat, but they're running on their reserves for their.
That's apparently.
And apparently is normal. So then that reassured us that nothing out of the ordinary was happening. It was nice to have someone help us, watch us, you know, change the diapers, making sure we're doing things as correct as possible. And
this first, so we had two ladies come during our 8 days, or it ended up being 6 days.
It ended up being 6 days, which we'll come back to in a second. But how these nurses work is they have 4 on working shifts and 4 off days off. So we just happened to have a nurse that was on her, I can't remember, 2-day,
like the second day
whatever of her schedule. And then we had 2 nurses come, which they were both perfectly nice and capable and really helpful. But unfortunately, we had a unique circumstance where we had the Kraamzorg come the day after the birthday. Because one of the things you have to do with your newborn is check the temperature to see if he or she has the right temperature and it doesn't have a fever. Unfortunately for our son, he was a bit high on some of the temperature checks.
Very little.
Like basically going up by like 1.1 or 0.2. But they're very careful here for good reasons. So then when we called our midwife and the midwife came back to check on our son, she recommended us to go to the hospital and actually stay there for a minimum of 2 days. So in that case, that 2 days when we were at the hospital actually counted as postpartum care. And that's why we only had 6 days of Kraamzorg in our home.
So there's nurses at the hospital as well. So they were also considered,
Which is actually, when you're at the hospital, you get even better care.
Because it's 24-hour care because you're staying overnight. But anyways, when we
everything
came
was
back
fine.
home,
everything was good at the hospital, and there was no problem. It was just precautionary.
The nurses were amazing at the hospital, if not more amazing, because they were actually hospital nurses. I don't know if there's any difference in their credibility, but they were great. And then once we got back home, we met up with the same nurse, right?
For one more day.
And she was really young. Like, I don't think she
didn't have any kids of her own, but she was confident. She was quite knowledgeable, professional. And she also had really good communication skills. So
her English was pretty good, I would say. She taught us how to do the bath. And gave us a lot of great tips. I think she did mention, like, do you want me to make you lunch, or do you need breakfast or something? But like, I felt really awkward because I didn't want like a Dutch sandwich for lunch, and I don't really know what ingredients like they're gonna make stuff with because I didn't have any groceries at home. But we had food prepared beforehand. Like I prepped a lot of freezer meals.
And then our friends were sending us food as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't really need that service. So I said no when she kind of suggested it, but I don't know exactly what she would have prepared in that case. But she did some cleaning, a little bit of cleaning. She didn't stay for very long though. She only stayed, I feel like, only 4 hours or so every day, or the first day and then the last day. But she was very efficient. So like she would do everything in those 4 hours and check on my scars.
Maybe it would have been longer if I had to go back to work a lot sooner. Because that does happen a lot with dads. They go back to work basically immediately because it's a strategy, right? Because then you have the Kraamzorg come so they can save their holiday or they can save their paternity leave for after the Kraamzorg is completed with.
Yeah, which I do not recommend. In our personal case, we would have never done that because I feel like those first few days, it's so important for the dad to bond with the kid. But also, like, you know, this Kraamzorg is like a stranger. So it's nice to have, you know, someone that you can trust and care and love you those first week, because trust me, first week recovery is rough.
Yeah.
So it was so nice to have both my husband and the Kraamzorg there at the same time.
So then by like day 3 or day 4, we had the second Kraamzorg come because the shift ended for the first one. And the second one was just as nice, just as knowledgeable. But then by that time of the Kraamzorg experience, we knew what to expect. We kind of already had all the knowledge. So essentially what I did was, when she came at 8 a.m., I wasn't co-sleeping. I was sleeping in the same room with my son.
Yeah, I was
and
sleeping
then I would literally
room.
pick him up as the doorbell rang, open the door, and hand him to the Kraamzorg.
Yeah.
And then she would just, you know,
Carry
take care of him, carry him, soothe him back to sleep.
Yeah.
While both of us went back to our room and we just passed out for the next 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, it was great because then we would catch up on our sleep, and we got some actually pretty good sleep while the Kraamzorg was here. I would say at least slept like 5 to 6 hours in total.
Which is good.
Which is
number
pretty
of
good.
hours if you have a newborn kid.
Yeah, for first week of newborn, that's pretty good. But yeah, that was amazing. The second Kraamzorg, I would say I did have a very interesting experience. Hello. We had a very interesting experience because she was here much longer than the first one. She was here the whole day, so
6-7 hours
maybe
from day
8.
I would say from like day 3 to day 6.
She came at 8 a.m. and left
at 3.
Sometimes even later, I felt like.
Yeah.
So it was a long day, right? And she, again, super efficient.
Yeah.
She came over, picked up Julian, and like he napped on her for like 2 hours. We woke up finally, and then I would grab him back, and she would just do chores around the house, right? Like mop the floor, clean the bathroom, like all the things.
Do all the checks on Cheryl and her son as well
like
in between.
Maybe 20 minutes to like clean the house, and then all the health checks, and then we're like, okay, well, Julian's sleeping. We don't really have anything else to do, and so I was watching TV because I can't move off of the couch, and she just sat beside me on the couch and basically watched TV with me until he would wake up, which is like possibly 2 or 3 hours later. He was such a good sleeper in the first week, and so we would literally just be sitting there like chatting about life, and then watching Cat's Eye on Netflix. I watched the whole season in like
I can tell
first
it
3
was
days.
definitely a bit weird, but I can see she had good intentions. It was like she should be here for, you know, a set amount of hours. So she was here, but she was super efficient. So then
it was kind of weird. Like I kind of felt like she could have suggested to do more things. Like maybe she didn't help us with our laundry. She just mopped the floor and cleaned the toilet, I think the first day, and then she didn't do that afterwards, I don't think. She didn't suggest to do laundry. Oh, she did, actually, afterwards, the second day.
and she did the laundry herself like afterwards,
Yeah, and then I kind of wish that she would like, I don't think she did the dishes. Did she? Maybe she did.
She did do the dishes.
Okay.
But she didn't offer to do any cooking.
Yeah, I feel like there could have been more stuff for her to do other than watch TV with me for like at least 5-6 hours.
I don't know what a typical Kraamzorg should be doing, but maybe she could have offered to grab groceries.
Asked, or she should have just asked what. And at some point, I was like trying to brainstorm like what can I ask her to help me to do, because it was just so awkward to be watching TV with her. I was like, you know what? I have some frozen cookie dough in the freezer, and I asked her, "Hey, can you bake the cookies? Because I have frozen cookie dough in the freezer." And I think there was a bit of a miscommunication because I don't know, her English was like totally fine, so I'm not really sure where the miscommunication was. But I think she thought like I was offering her cookies. I mean, she's free to have some of those cookies, but it was mostly for me. It was my breastfeeding cookies that I made. And then she thought I was offering her cookies, and she was like, "Oh no, I'm okay." And I was like, "Okay." So after that, I just got really awkward to like assign her more things to do, because it was just like that happened, and I don't know why she thought I was offering her cookies when she was here to work for me, I guess. It was just really, really weird.
But overall, she was fine. She was nice. She was knowledgeable. We learned a lot.
Yeah, she was a mother, and so she had a lot of like not just professional tips, but like personal tips and tricks.
I think my favorite one is because typically these nurses teach you how to bathe in a bathtub or in the sink with your kid. But she taught us a really efficient way of showering with your kid.
Yeah, basically just
and it was basically with you need two parents involved, but one parent would just basically shower with the kid, and then after a few minutes, pass the kid back to the other parent, and then the kid's clean and done.
Yeah.
And you save yourself setup time.
Yeah.
With the bathtub.
Set up and set down or whatever, putting it away, cleaning up and stuff.
So things like that was very helpful.
Yeah, and she helped a lot with the breastfeeding as well, because I was having a lot of issues with that.
Yeah.
And overall, I would say we had a very positive Kraamzorg experience.
With two different people.
I know not everyone feels that way about the Kraamzorg, especially since it can be a very vulnerable time to have like a stranger in your house, especially, I'm sure if it was somebody else in my position with a Kraamzorg just sitting there watching TV with you and like not doing anything and being all awkward, like I was feeling awkward, and I'm not usually that awkward of a person. I'm sure someone else having that experience may also feel like that was a very negative experience. Like it wasn't a preferable experience for me, but it was fine. But for some people, that might be a very off-putting experience. And so I can totally see where that can come from. But I believe you can also ask them to leave early if you're like, you're feeling, ready to be on your own. Then I think you can also ask them to leave as well. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, she didn't do anything at the end for watching TV with us, but at least she had good conversations.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's fine.
I guess that would be helpful actually if the mom was by herself at the Kraamzorg and then you just had left early. That could be a lonely experience for the mom, right?
Yeah,
and they're just stuck with the kid that can't talk back.
Yeah, because she did ask me about my birth experience. We kind of talked through it very casually. It's not like she was like a therapist or anything like that.
Just someone to talk to and hang out, another adult that can communicate back.
Yeah. So it was good.
TLDR, take advantage of the Kraamzorg benefit if you live in the Netherlands and you're going to give birth here. Do your research online, or maybe you have some recommendations from your friends and family on which agencies or which independents to go with. If you anticipate being pregnant in the near future, like next year, consider adjusting your health insurance to maybe increasing it with the add-on so that it covers everything, including hospital, birth.
And also your child gets to hop on to that insurance afterwards for free. So it's kind of like you're increasing your insurance price, but then you get someone else tacked onto that insurance for free. Yeah. So
and then when you do get your Kraamzorg, because you came home from your birth, minimum 8 hours, maximum 24 hours, spread over 8 days. We didn't cover this, but if for whatever reason you had a challenging birth or mentally you're struggling after your birth, they can extend the 8 days to a bit longer if there is a valid reason. In our case, we didn't qualify for that.
I know. We were like really not wanting her to leave because the naps in the morning were so great for us. We were like trying to come up with any reason to be like, can you stay longer? But we were honestly doing fine.
So, but keep that in the back of your pocket if you feel like you need some more time with the Kraamzorg. We recommend it, and we hope that other Western countries consider adopting this or including it
because
somehow.
It's kind of like having your mother-in-law or mother come I mean, it's not the same experience, but it's like having,
Yeah.
you know, someone with more experience than you come in to help up with, you know, the home and stuff. So as expats, we really, really valued that. And would have been incredible if we also have that in Canada. So anyways.
So we hope you found this video helpful.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about the Kraamzorg or just giving birth in the Netherlands, leave your question below in the comments section, and we'll try to respond to it while we can, while we're not too tied up with our little bundle of joy. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you have any other questions or requests for postpartum, baby caring, motherhood, you know, parenthood, that kind of thing, feel free to let us know in the comments as well. We still have another month of his paternity leave,
Yes.
and we're really hoping that we can maybe use some of that time, if our baby allows us, to film more videos in advance to answer some of those questions, because it's been such a unique experience as expat parents here in Amsterdam specifically, and so we'd love to share more of that. So
On that note, we're gonna change his diapers, and then we'll see you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.